A Dream in the Quiet Garden. A breeze rustled through a small garden on Staten Island. Young Robert ran along the path, brushing his fingers across the leaves. In his hand was a book. In his eyes, stories of Caesar, of Hannibal, of soldiers dying for ideals without regret. His family was wealthy, intellectual, and humane. His parents were abolitionists, teaching him not to love his country with weapons, but to believe in justice. Robert grew up between two worlds, one of peace and another of a nation on the brink of tearing itself apart. When war knocks at the soul, 1861, the American Civil War erupts. Drums beat, flags wave, and young men take up arms. Robert could not stand aside, but he didn't march off with excitement. He left with a heavy heart. War is not glory, he wrote to his mother, but if justice needs defenders, I cannot turn away. He enlisted. He saw blood for the first time. His comrades fell in swamps, forests, and shattered forts. War was no longer in books. It was the smell of smoke, of burning flesh, of screams torn from wounded throats. Robert changed, not into a monster, but into a man of silence and sorrow. The Forgotten Rise. In 1863 came a decision that shook America, the formation of the 1st Regiment of black soldiers. Men once enslaved, once seen as animals, would now carry rifles and fight for freedom, and they needed a commander. Not a politician, not a man chasing glory, but someone who believed in what they were never allowed to believe, that they had worth. Robert was chosen. At first, he refused. He feared he wasn't brave enough, not strong enough. But then he saw the eyes of the black men never even called men before, looking at him with silent hope. Robert accepted. He trained them. No pity, no leniency, but with absolute respect. He defended them from unequal pay, from slurs, from disrespect. He even fought against his own army's racism, so that his men would be treated like humans. The final night at Fort Wagner, the 54th Massachusetts was ordered to assault Fort Wagner, a Confederate fortress bristling with guns. Everyone knew it was a suicide mission, but Robert did not back down. That evening, he wrote a letter to his mother. His hands trembled, not from fear of death, but from fear that even death might not be enough to prove his soldiers' worth. It rained. The sky hung like lead. At 7 p.m., he gave the command to advance. That moment was not war. It was a storm rolling in from the sea. Drums thundered. Bullets screamed. Earth exploded. Men fell. But the 54th did not stop. They pushed through sand, ditches, barbed wire, and climbed the fortress wall. And atop the ramparts, in the middle of the gunfire, a lone officer in blue stood tall, Robert, shouting, "Forward, 54th! Forward!" A bullet tore through his chest. Robert fell. His body collapsed into the trench, among the very men he had loved more than himself. Buried in immortality, the Confederates buried Robert with his black soldiers, an act they thought would disgrace him. But to the Shaw family, it was the highest honor. We do not wish for our son to lie apart in silence. He should rest with the men who fought and died beside him. Letter from his father. The immortal, the 54th did not capture Fort Wagner, but they captured America's heart. After that night, thousands of black men enlisted. For the first time, the nation saw them differently. Robert Gould Shaw's name is etched in memorials. But more importantly, he is etched into the memory of those who understand that some deaths carry rebirth. If you must die, die for something that matters. Robert did not win with guns. He won with faith that justice needs people to live for it and die for it. He is no longer here, but on the crumbling walls of history's forgotten forts, there still remain the footprints of a young officer leading a regiment the world once tried to forget.